Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk about a topic that is very dear to me, and it's about innovation in Africa in 2016, and where we at, what needs to be improved. I truly believe innovation space. I won't say it's the next revolution, but it's an opportunity for us to level the playing field across the board. Um, And when I talk about innovation, is innovation in technology and business model, mostly in technology, but it's software, hardware. But starting having in-house development. So unfortunately, what's happening is the innovation space in Africa is really weak. It's booming. All the good things that are happening, it's happening, but it's weak in a sense where we focus too much on software. We're not focusing so much on some of the hardware development, some of the smart system that is needed, especially with this global warming happening. But the biggest issue we have a broken ecosystem. The reason why the United States is dominant in innovation is very simple. Not only because of the level of how innovative they are and the culture behind innovation, but it's the what we call collaboration between the different partners. I'll give you a perfect example. When we started developing our solar kiosks, I went to the biggest university, technical university here, trying to see if they can help me develop that technology. And the answer was very simply, we were too small, they were not interested. They're more interested in looking for big companies, especially foreign companies, to come in here and work with them and all, but they're not interested in local small companies. For whatever reason, it doesn't make any sense. If you do innovation in the States, you see a lot of collaboration between students and the university, or private sector and the university, private sector, public sector. Another problem we have is all product development that we do are done overseas. Why is it's that simple? There is no product development in the region. I'm not going to say Africa. I'm sure in South Africa they have, but in East Africa there's none. There's Gearbox that just opened in Kenya, and what I mean by product development is not just the design of the product, but having proactive designer, for example, that understand what they're looking for. You tell them your problematics and they solve it. Not just designer that you just tell them what you want and they just do what you want, but also building the hardware. We don't have that. Gearbox is very interesting because it's new. It will allow any type of hardware to be developed in-house, but the challenge, as far as as I read and I saw, Gearbox will be focused on people that already have the knowledge to build those hardware by themselves. But if you're looking for a company that you just present an idea and tell them, listen, we want to build this. This is what we believe there's a market for it. From A to Z, from the top design to the prototyping to the product description and all, there is none. We're spending a lot of money overseas developing a product. Can you imagine if that money was developed here? We have to look for grants. That grant will be funded for our product development overseas. So we have a lack of, I won't say knowledge, but there's a lack of understanding, what we need on the ground to promote certain fields. If you look at, and I'm not even talking about manufacturing, which is another topic. If you're a small company and you want to talk to a manufacturing company in Africa, 90% of the time they will not do business with. Because what? They're small. In China, they don't care. You do 2 orders, 200 and 2,000, they'll deal with you. So we have a broken system. We have a broken system, and the solution is very simple. First, we need to have university working with the private sector, especially the local company. We need to force, the government have to have a structure. We need to force universities, not just working with students, but working with the private sector and involving their students in those projects to give them the experience they need. University should also have not just equipment, but allowing those product development, those other options for the private sector, small, medium, or large. It doesn't matter. Then we also have to have our own local grant program. Can you imagine that all of our program, not even 99, 100% of all the grant program we receive, not long the grant, come from overseas? It's ridiculous. How are we going to be innovative where we have to go outside Africa to ask for money? It just doesn't make any sense. And even the grant that exists in Africa, 9 out of 10, first of all, they're more catered for the government. If it's for the private sector, it's NGOs. And if it's, if it's for the private, it's NGOs. If for the businesses, 90% of the grant that are given to or that are developed in Africa are funds that come from foreign countries. And 90% of the time, those funds go back to them because they're given to organizations from their countries, which makes sense. You know, how are we going to develop and become more innovative if we don't allocate some fund for research and development, which is the biggest part of innovation? You can't research and develop if you ain't got no money. Now, it's one thing when you promote and say, hey, guys, please innovate, but what kind of structure we have? Can you imagine that all the home solar system around the continent are foreign owned? You know, whether you look at Mobisol, B-Box, and the other ones, Waka Waka, no. Why we don't have, and the few ones that are Kenyans or that are owned by Africans, we never hear from them. I know two of them. One went out of business because they're competing in a marketplace that is unfair. The foreign companies are able to raise millions of dollars. Why? Because their government support them. Number one, they get grants, crazy grants. EU alone give grants to all those companies, tens of millions of dollars of grants. You know, who give those other guys those innovative grants? No one. So we need to understand that this is an unfair. It's definitely an unfair market, but at the end of the day, if we don't wake up and build that ecosystem to promote innovation from A to Z, guess what? We'll just end up being consumer of foreign innovation, and that's it. Thanks.